If you want your next stand-up special to look as good as possible, in this video I'm going to break down how we filmed Tom Houghton's latest special, which has been doing the rounds since it got uploaded a few weeks ago. If you're new here, my name's David at Affinity, and we specialise in producing stand-up specials and comedy content to help comics grow online. Now, normally in these videos we review everybody else's specials, but today is a chance to show you what went into filming Tom Houghton's and how we put everything that we know into practice. Let's go. So Tom was performing at Darlington Hippodrome, and that was where he was going to tape his special, an amazing venue up here in the Northeast, and we absolutely love filming there, particularly for the vantage point that you get on the cameras. It's right at eye level of the comics on the stage. Now, not all venues have this, and it can be difficult. If you can't match the comic's eye line, you're either filming too high or too low. It just takes the viewer straight out of the situation because they want to feel like the comic is talking straight to them. If it looks like it's been filmed on the balcony up above, nightmare. Now, to kick things off for the special, we have this one-take shot of Tom in his green room walking up to the stage. We wanted to have a less typical intro for the start of the show, and as Tom walks to the stage, we hear his opening monologue from the show playing over the top. We then join him on stage in the special just after his opening punchline. So let's jump into the camera angles then. We've got three front-on angles to begin with. We've got a close-up, we've got a mid, which is kind of like head to toe, and then we've got a wide, which captures some of the audience reactions and interactions. Now, the two closer-up angles are going to cover probably 70 to 80% of the actual timeline in the video. And then that wider angle, along with a range of others, is going to cover the remaining 20 to 30%. So Tom was pretty happy for us to take the reins on the camera setup and placement, but he did make it clear that capturing audience reactions was an important part. So with that, we had two cameras either side of stage, both on long-range lenses, so that the camera operators could pick out audience reactions throughout the show. Now, not all of the close-up audience reactions you see are actually captured in real time, meaning a reaction at one point of the show might be picked up and moved to fill spots later down the line. This is pretty common in most specials, particularly around continuity, and especially common in TV or bigger productions where the show is likely taped at least twice. While we were chatting in pre-production, Tom mentioned that he's a fan of the kind of like 90-degree side-on shots, and so the camera that was staged right bounced between audience reactions and Tom himself. This made the side shot quite close up and was really good to use for facial expressions or more serious or poignant parts throughout Tom's show. We also had a 45-degree reverse shot. This was actually the camera that I was on, and filming Tom from the wings just behind him. I always think of Dave Chappelle with this camera angle and wanted to include it. Now, we didn't use it too much in the edit. It definitely has a time and a place, but it worked well when we did use it. Now, my personal favorite camera angle was the power wide that we got at the back of the stage, and this captured Tom and the sold out Darlington Hippodrome. Now, these kind of shots are always great, one to establish the actual audience and the room and the setting of the special, but also to establish the comedian if someone is landing on them with fresh eyes and has no idea who they are. One curveball for the show during the pre-production was that Tom was going to write a musical for the end of the show, and he was going to have a choir join him on stage. So we planned that once the lighting and sound checks were done, we would then get the audio of the choir up on the stage. So we had our audio engineer capture a load of recordings for that. Then we would capture some visual playthroughs of the performance. This is where we would get a load of close-ups and cutaways of the choir without having to have a larger camera crew basically flood the stage during the actual performance and ruin it for everybody in the room on the night. It also meant that we could keep a more slimline crew, which could then just focus on the wider shots and audience reactions on the night. This makes the actual stage performance better and save Tom a little bit in the budget. We then had all the multi-track recordings of Tom and the choir sent to our audio producer, shout out to Kyle at the Garage Studios, to get it fully mixed and mastered along with the rest of the show as well. Now, Tom absolutely smashed the set in a one-take wonder. It left us with minimal editing realistically in post-production, other than deciding a few tiny parts to remove and any particulars on camera angles. We then went on to produce Tom a batch of thumbnails for the special, load of social media clips, as well as a trailer to fully promote the show as best we can. And according to Comedy IQ, Tom's special went straight into the comedy charts on the week that it was launched. Not too shabby. We absolutely loved working on this one. Massive shout out to Tom for having us once again, and we look forward to working on the next one. So if you're looking to film your next stand-up special or produce comedy content online, this is what we do best. So visit our website or drop us a message for a completely free quote.